Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you and peace out to the rest of you. Blackheart shining again and sign of black in asking you to hit that share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Now, I'm going to explain to you in this why it is that I discuss the women and not the money. A lot of SYSBM men already have some means or they're working on the means of making money. Now, they're not all entrepreneurs, but they got ways to earn a living. A lot of IBMOR men, same thing. Money gets up and it runs from you. Most people in the world are not going to be wealthy. Most people are actually not even going to be middle class. They're going to be poor. Most people in the world, very few are even going to make it. Very few will make it to the middle class, let alone to some levels of wealth. Money gets up. It is an inanimate object that is still capable of getting up and running away from you. You work for it, but if you chase after it too much, it's just going to get up and run from you and preoccupy you. It is a fruitless endeavor to plan on growing rich. It really is. And it's a smart endeavor to plan on finding a way to make a living and finding ways to save. But it is a stupid endeavor to plan on getting rich any kind of way. As fruitless an endeavor as it is, women make even less sense to pursue. Because while money doesn't really have an interest in being earned or lost, women have an interest in men. So when they tell you that you got to make a pursuit, that's even more fruitless, especially in the West. Why would you do that? She's interested in a man. She needs a man. She's telling you need to go along and you need to make a pursuit and run after her and court her and all that stuff to inflate her ego. Then that just means that you're giving her confidence to approach another guy that she actually wants. And she's going to screw him for free. Don't fall for that. We know that game in the West. I tell you about the women because you know what? Some people say to me, well, some people have said to all of us actually, Islam was right about women. What do you mean was right? Islam is right about women. But do they understand the Islamic stance on women? Men must call the shots. However, women are moral equals to men. That means that they are equally responsible morally. God's going to judge them the same way. That's what the actual Islamic stance is. They are to be judged the same way as men. When they die and their bodies are lowered into the grave, they're going to go through the same questioning that the men are. And what they feel in the grave is a precursor to what's waiting on them after resurrection and judgment. They're going to, and it's going to be the same as for a man based on what they've done and what they believed. And when we are all resurrected and stand before our Lord, they're going to be judged equally, questioned, punished, and rewarded equally to men. That's the Islamic stance on women. They are morally capable and therefore responsible. They have free will like we do. And that's why I discuss them. You see, I'm not telling you about them because I think that there's some incapable moral inferiors that just can't do any better than what they've been doing and they cannot be any more righteous than what they've been. I'm telling you about them because they are capable of that, and you see it when you go into some of these older cultures. You simply cannot give them too much power without responsibility, and you will get a chance to see it. And that's why I talk to you about them. And I don't go into money much. I mean, I can tell you what to avoid when it comes to women. And a lot of us men have dealt with something similar. I've set up and watched their behavior. Now, when it comes to money, I can't sit up here and tell you, okay, this guy's going to make a lot of money later on. This guy's not going to make much. I really can't sit up. I can tell you most guys are not going to. Most women aren't going to. Most people aren't going to make much. Money is just too scarce. It actually has to be scarce in order to be money. That's what I can tell you about money. I can't sit up and say the same thing for women. I can't tell you that women have to be attracted to the worst kinds of guys in order to be women. They have to be attracted to the most violent men in order to be women. That's not a condition.
Now, there are men out there that can talk about money, and I'm glad they can. They know all about investments, but they're still not guaranteed to get rich. If they were, that would be called insider trading. They would be investigated at the very least, more than likely get arrested for insider trading. I mean, look what happened to Martha Stewart. She pulled her money out of an investment that was going to lose money right before it lost money, and she got convicted of insider trading and had to do some time. That's Martha Stewart, a white woman. They came to her and they told her, you didn't lose money. You didn't lose enough money. So we have evidence that you were insider trading. That you did this based on information you weren't even supposed to have in the first place. That's money, people. So how am I going to sit up and tell you much about it? What am I going to tell you that you don't already know? Most human beings are not entrepreneurs, and I'm one of the most. I can help other people get a business off to a good start. I can't take a business and get it off to a good start. I wish I could, but I simply can't. I just don't have that capacity. I can't start something of my own and make it work. And if I could, then part of my ability to do it would hinge on me not telling you how to do it. That's money. That's not women. The difficulties you encounter from money are because that's the intrinsic nature of anything that can be considered money. Once something is so readily available that everyone has an abundance of it, it's no longer money. If everyone had $1 million right now, do you think that a Hyundai Sonata would stay the same in price? No. Every Hyundai Sonata would now cost you several millions. Every single one. Maybe even billions, because hell, everybody's got $1 million. now they got to raise that price from tens of thousands to billions. What you think if everybody gets $1 million tomorrow, everyone's going to live in a mansion? There aren't that many mansions. Now the prices of mansions are just going to go up, and everyone's going to be right back where they started. That's what's going to happen when it comes to money. When it comes to women, though, God didn't say that they have to be that difficult. See, the way that God created money, the way that God created human beings, men and women, He has told us and shown to us that it is more important to handle your libido with chastity, meaning marriage, than it is for you to make a lot of money. Most people ain't gonna have it. That's what He's told us and shown us. It's just that when women give in to their materialism, that neither one really gets to handle the libido with any level of chastity. Because she's sitting back saying, I want all this in exchange for my funky crotch. That's what's going on. That difficulty is not necessary. Because He did not say to her, you have to sit back and demand high dowries and expensive homes and expensive cars in exchange for that crotch that's going to bleed and smell like fish 5 days out the week or more. He didn't say that that's what they have to do. That's something that they choose to do out of a weakness. And frankly, I don't have to tell you much of anything when something is just intrinsically difficult, like becoming rich. What do I have to tell you about that? I mean, it's like telling me, it's like me sitting up and saying to you, well, you need to learn how to swim from Miami to Havana in order to be considered in shape. If you can't do that, you're just a fat, weak slob wimp. It's like me saying that. That's what you need to do just to be considered in shape. No, that's not. Most people ain't gonna have the time to train for it, let alone to do it. That's not what it takes. But by the same token, when you take a gender that has an interest in the other gender, but it's being difficult and putting up barriers and just in general pretty much saying, we're going to give the easiest time to the worst of you and the hardest time to the best of you. Yeah, that's something that needs to be talked about because, see, money does not come to you and lie to you and say, look, you need to chase me and pursue me. And while you're doing it, you need to be a good person and you need to have ethics and morals. And then I'm going to start coming to you in abundance, or you will catch me in abundance. But I'm going to run from you. Money doesn't come to you and tell you lies about how to get it. It's a mystery. A lot of it is hard work and a lot of it is luck. Either one's missing, you ain't going to get it. Matter of fact, luck is more important nowadays than the work ethic. That's the truth of the matter. What about with women though? Do they explain to you what it is that they want and then you see them getting that and sticking with it? Even in the East, you don't necessarily see that. They may get with something and stick with it, but they're not necessarily telling you. You still got to figure it out. So what about even more so in the West? What are they doing? They're lying to you. They're not just not telling you the truth. They are lying to you about what to do. So that you, if you get money, you would feel honored to spend it on them after they've given it for free to the worst of guys. That's why I have to tell you about these. I would have got to tell you about Western women, but I don't have to tell you about money. You already know money's difficult. You may make all the right moves and just a disaster or a break-in or something like that, and you just don't get it. It just doesn't come to you. Or, I don't know, people find out that it's black owned and they just don't support it. Niggas and June bugs come in there asking for the hookup, but they ain't trying to spend. And white folk ain't even walking in the door. It could simply be that. Believe you me, that's actually very common. Black businesses that succeed are not known to be black owned. I know that because the ones in my hometown are not known to be black owned, and they've told my mother this more than one. That's how it worked. And if it's known to be black owned, and by that time it's already doing too well and it's cornered a particular market, they're going to send someone white to buy that business up. They're going to do it. And if you don't sell that business, then they're going to start coming up with other things to make sure that you lose that business over time. It is a war, not just in America, but in the Western world. Period. They're going to fight that war. But why would Boom Shika and Sapphire and Bonquisha join them in that war? Now that's something to actually look at and discuss because they don't have a natural reason to do that. So why would they? And this is my reason for not talking a whole lot about money in business. It's money. It has to be rare. A bunch of people have to not have enough of it in order for it to be worth anything if you have an abundance of it. That's the nature of money. That's how economics works. But there isn't a shortage of women. They're just simply looking around and saying, for no good reason, let's put up these barriers. And let's always move the goalpost for these guys. And they're largely doing that in countries that have the most money per capita. So it may very well be that the Western woman drives the Western man to change the economy of the world by taking talent and resources to other nations that have less per capita. Only this time when the men go, they'll know enough to say to the women in the new locations, do not act like that bitch over there that I left behind. Don't do it. And you won't have to lose what she's lost. We'll know enough this time to say to these women in the new locations, watch that location that we're leaving. And when enough of us have gone, look what happens to the entire system. Watch. And if you don't act like she did, this system over here won't have to go through the same thing. It's up to you. At least this time we'll know enough. And I think that the results can go either way because they are the moral equals of men. That means they're equally morally responsible as well. It's just a question of if they're going to do it.
and time will tell what will shape out and what will come to fruition at that point. But what I can tell you is that, with a guarantee, when enough men who can leave do leave, the first world ain't gonna be first no more. Believe that. And the men that are left behind, you would think that they're gonna be swimming in it, right? No, because when women realize how things actually work, they become pessimistic, and they're gonna start judging the men that are left behind pessimistically, and they're gonna wonder why these men are left behind, why they didn't leave as well. I know because this happened in Atlanta. And see, when I lived in Atlanta, when I first moved there, I heard, oh man, Blackheart, don't worry about what happened to you back in your hometown. It's going to be different here. That's what I heard. No, it was not. It actually got worse. Believe it or not, it was actually far worse. You know why? The women knew that they outnumbered the men. So a black man that wasn't broke and was available, was not taken, they thought was gay. It was that bad. They figured, okay, so he's gay, he's just hiding it. That's why he's single. It was to that point that even in their desperation to find a man, they were assuming that good guys were only available because they were gay. You could have just gotten into Atlanta the week before, and they find out you're single. Well, why the hell are you? So what wound up happening? A lot of women, and they told me they were doing this, a lot of them started looking towards married men. Because they would say, well, at least I know he's normal because somebody else wants him. That's how they felt. Married men started getting hit on. Hell, you a married man and they see you married, you may not even have to make many approaches. They would understand if you approached them and you were married. They wouldn't understand if you approached them and you were single. And that's what's going to wind up happening in these first world nations when enough capable men do bounce. Now what are these women going to say? Oh, okay, well, yeah, you cute and all, but why are you still here? Wait, what are you talking about, baby? Don't you need a place to stay? I mean, you should be glad I am. All right, I'll take you on, but I don't know. I'll take you on, but I'm never going to fully trust you. I'm always going to look at you out the corner of my eye because you still here and all them other guys are gone. We'll see why you stayed. That's if you lucky dudes. So understand the reason that I talk about the Western women, the wicked witch of the West, and I do not talk to you much about money. Ain't never gonna come a day when most men got money. Matter of fact, you pretty much don't allow. The day that male professors don't allow female students to sleep with them for grades, it's going to be one of the days that we will see the job market, especially the profitable job market, pretty much dominated by men again. I'm not saying every successful woman slept her way to the top. I'm saying too many of them did, by their own admissions. I think I've said enough. That's my time. I hope that what I said one day will not be true, and until then, I hope it helps. Blackheart, signing black out. Assalamu alaikum, and black male power just because they don't like it.